On a more serious topic, I think that along anyone's journey, it doesn't have to be because we're expats. You could be living at home, right?
Yeah.
There has to be a certain point in your life where you kind of just sit back, look at yourself, and be like, okay, am I doing exactly what I wanted to do? Have I done the things I want to do? If I haven't done the things I want to do, what do I need to change? And sort of, okay, not just professionally, but also personally,
Personally, yeah.
right? So I know that you've gone through a couple of things lately in your life. Have you sort of like have you used this time for self-reflection, self-criticism, kind of just um mixing the pot a little bit? Like what are your what have you gained out of this time of self-reflection and self-criticism?
Yeah. So for me, I try to do self-reflection every year. Every year you try to like, just look at what you've accomplished, what you've not accomplished, or what I've set out for myself, and then set kind of a marker of what do I need to do to get to where I want to be at. Um Honestly, I was talking to this about this subject to one of my friends, and it's like, I think I hit a point where, something has to change, but I don't know what has
That
has to change,
isn't that always the most difficult thing to identify? You're like, what needs
Yeah,
something needs to change,
yeah,
but you don't know exactly what you're doing because objectively to many people, you may be like, wow, you're great,
yeah,
right? If your life just capped out at this point, you would be better than most people on this planet, right?
hmm,
But because you're so ambitious and you always want more, you could be happy and content, but you're never really satisfied, right? So
yeah,
there's always that
exactly.
point in your life, okay, what do I need to do to kind of shake things up?
Yeah,
Right. So for
yeah.
me,
Okay,
sorry,
go ahead.
I
Yeah,
was gonna say, just for me personally, I do have these conversations quite often,
hmm,
especially with my group of guy friends, right?
yeah,
Outside of you, about and also, my girl and then my family members about things I'm trying to always accomplish and the things I'm trying to do along the way. And there's been times in my life where I've lost myself a little bit, flow and kind of let other people control my destiny, which is where I do not ever want to be. I don't
yeah,
want anybody else making decisions on my life, my livelihood, or anything of that nature. So I'll just stop it right there and I'll just turn it back to you, man.
yeah. No, in that as well as people, they project themselves onto you. So a lot of people tell you what you should be doing or what's right for you, what's not right for you. I'm sure maybe you've heard when we were starting the podcast, like, oh, why are you doing a podcast? You're a lawyer, you're an
Ooh,
accomplished
man.
lawyer, you're doing well. You
Yeah.
don't you don't need to be doing that.
Yeah.
So definitely. But for myself, it's more so um, you find out, and I think one is being thankful.
Yeah.
So I think for both of us, we could say like we've done typically more than most.
Yeah.
Like as far as even seeing the world,
Yeah.
traveling, money comes and goes, things like that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't define happiness
No, it
for
doesn't.
me, And I learned that, and it's more about who do you share
Yeah.
those times with. Who do you share those memories with? And I think now that's like just a question. I don't know if it's like a midlife crisis or something like that.
You're not midlife there, man. You have plenty to go. But I think that before anybody sort of criticizes us for having this conversation,
Yeah,
it's not that we're not grateful, right?
yeah,
So sometimes I think as human beings, especially but just myself, we forget to stop and take a moment to remember that we prayed for this, right?
yeah,
And there was a time when none of this existed, right? And the space that we're in right now is something truly special, right? And there was a time where there was just a hope, just a dream, but I think for me personally, I prayed for this moment and to have the money to do what I want, where I want, with who I want for the most part. And I'm here in this space, right?
yeah,
And I think when we take the time to acknowledge that we are in a place that we once prayed for, then we're much able to have a much better positive attitude towards what we want to do next because we've done the work to get from our previous point A to accomplish this goal right now, right?
yeah,
So we're able better to prepare ourselves for the next step. And I think that's what we're doing right now, right? Even through the process of having the podcast, I think it's been it's made me realize a lot of things about the things I like and the things I don't like.
yeah,
Like, why am I putting so much energy into something I don't like versus something that maybe I do like, right? If I put so much energy into things I didn't like to do, and I was able to accomplish a fair amount of success in that, what can I do now with the podcast? Right. And then when I have somebody else as a partner who's just equally as motivated, right?
yeah,
And I think that people often forget that achieving different things as you get older, that just because like the word achievement and achieving means different things as you get older, right? Because just because a goal changed along the way and it looks different at the destination, then it doesn't mean it's failure, right?
Yeah.
It's just maturation and experience that took over along the journey because maybe you didn't have all the information
Yeah. And it's just
when
evolving.
you first started, right? So it's
Mm,
just an evolution that you go
mm,
along those things. And I actually took that from I have a mentor that I talk to 4 times a year. This guy's a super accomplished partner at a real big law firm, and I check in with him, and he's always telling me, just because when you wanted to on day one when you wanted to be a lawyer, you may want to be partner, you're not a partner anymore. That doesn't mean failure. You just realize you got all the information along the way, and you were able to realize like, okay, maybe you want to do something else with your life. You know how many partners I've spoken to, and I ask them how happy you are about the decision you made. They're like,
yeah.
nah, this is not what I want to do. I'd rather do
Stressed
what you're
out
doing.
and
I'd rather be having the, if I had enough if I had enough balls essentially, right, to do something else and not be paralyzed by fear, then maybe I would not have been a partner. Maybe
yeah.
I would have done something else with my life, something that would bring me other fulfillment. Now, obviously, they get all the money with it and all the access they get with the money, right? But I think people equate working hard towards something, right, as having good work ethic when you can see that as an insecurity because you're afraid to do other things with your life.
Yeah.
So I don't ever want to be that person,
Hmm.
right? I don't ever want to be somebody who's like, I'm going to work 14 or 16 hours a day. You know, you and me always talk, right?
Yeah.
And it's not, I don't think I'm at a point where I'm insecure about something because I'm actually doing something else now. But I probably maybe at a different time previously, I was like,
Mm.
well, maybe I'm just working so hard because I think this is going to get me money and money is going to bring me happiness. But you come to find out when you come through, you know, a fair sum of money, that doesn't bring you any type of happiness, right?